Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a brand new story to share with you, so let's begin. My name is Michael, and this story is about something that changed my life forever. To really understand it, you have to know where it all started. I met Marie back in high school. We were just good friends back then. We'd sit together sometimes and joke around like teenagers do. But after graduation, life happened. We went our separate ways. Fast forward a few years, and out of nowhere, I got a notification on Instagram. It was Marie. She had liked one of my posts, an old picture of me at a friend's wedding. I checked her profile, and before I knew it, we were catching up in the DMs. The conversation flowed easily, like no time had passed at all. We talked about everything: work, family, old classmates, even the dumb high school rumors we used to hear. It felt good reconnecting with her. A few messages turned into long chats, and then we decided to meet up. Just a casual hangout to see each other again. One hangout turned into another, then another. Before long, we were spending time together regularly. There was this natural chemistry between us, like we just fit. And one day, it just made sense to call it what it was. We were dating. At that point in my life, being with Marie felt like the best thing that had ever happened to me. She was my person, the one I could talk to about anything, the one who made life feel a little bit lighter. Looking back now, I realize how much I believed in us. But as you'll soon find out, I had no idea what was really going on. For the past 3 years, things with Marie were steady. It felt like we were in sync most of the time, and I honestly couldn't imagine my life without her. We've been friends for a long time, but when we reconnected, it was like everything fell into place. We spent a lot of time together, and I got to know her friends. They got to know me too. I became part of her circle, and she did the same with mine. Marie wasn't some stranger to my buddies. She fit right in. We became a team, and it felt like the kind of partnership that would last. We both had our lives outside the relationship, our own jobs, friends, interests. But we managed to balance it all. Looking back, it makes sense now why I never questioned it. When you're caught up in something that feels right, you tend to ignore the little things that might hint otherwise. It didn't cross my mind that things could fall apart. Not at the time. I worked an entry-level position at a financial firm, not exactly glamorous, but it was a solid job with room to grow. I wasn't just working for the paycheck. I had a plan. The goal was simple: climb the ladder, secure a better position, and set up a future where Marie and I wouldn't have to worry about money. Promotions don't come easy in the corporate world, but I believed that with enough dedication, I'd get there. Marie, on the other hand, was doing okay, but wasn't completely stable. She had a job, but it wasn't something that guaranteed long-term security. Some months were better than others for her, and I could tell she wanted more financial stability. We talked about this a lot. In fact, we had an agreement: once I got promoted, I would propose. It wasn't just about the ring or the wedding. It was about making sure we were in the right place financially before taking that step. Neither of us wanted to struggle when we could build something solid first. It made sense. But here's the thing: just because we made that plan didn't mean life was going to follow it. The promotion didn't come when I expected. And then it didn't come the next time, either. Delays kept happening, and every time I thought I was close, something else would push it further down the line. Things completely out of my control. Through all of this, I thought Marie understood. I even told her, "I know it's taking longer than we hoped, but I promise I'm working on it." She would smile, tell me she believed in me, and we'd move on. I had no reason to think there was a problem. But as I would soon find out, I was dead wrong. One evening, the rain came down in steady sheets, drumming against my windshield as I drove home from work. The streets were slick, the traffic slow, and my mind was already worn out from the long day. Just as I was about to pass through a familiar junction, my phone rang. It was Marie. Her voice was casual, almost sweet, as she asked me to pick her up from her friend's place. She reminded me that I'd be driving past there anyway, so it wouldn't be a hassle. I didn't think twice about it. I told her I'd be there soon and continued on my route. I ended up arriving a little earlier than expected. The rain had eased slightly, and instead of honking or calling her, I decided to just walk up to the door and knock. As I got closer, I heard loud voices and laughter coming from inside. It wasn't unusual. Marie and her friends were always chatty, but something about the energy in the room made me pause. I just wanted to give them a moment before interrupting. But then, through the thin walls, the conversation became painfully clear. One of the girls, in a playful yet curious tone, asked Marie a question. "So, what happens to your rich guy when Michael finally proposes?" The room went silent for half a second before Marie's laughter broke through. Then she answered, "Oh, I'll brutally dump Michael when he proposes." The moment she said it, the room exploded with laughter. I stood frozen outside the door. I didn't need to hear more. I didn't want to. Without knocking, without saying a word, I turned around, walked back to my car, and drove off. I stepped into my apartment, locking the door behind me. The room was dark, but I didn't turn on the lights. I didn't need to see anything. My clothes clung to my skin, cold and soaked from the rain, but I didn't bother changing. I just walked to the couch and sank into it, staring at nothing, my mind unraveling every moment I had spent with Marie. Every time she had told me she loved me. Had it all been a lie? My thoughts circled back to the rich guy. How long has he been around? Was he just a recent addition, or had he been there from the very start? Was I only there as security, someone she kept around just in case things with him didn't go as planned? The realization made my stomach turn. Had I ever really been her first choice? Was this why she always put her phone on airplane mode when she was around me? I had never questioned it before. She had always made it sound sweet, telling me she wanted to focus on us, that she didn't want any distractions. And I had believed her. But now it was obvious. It had never been about me. It's probably about keeping him hidden. I reached for my phone and powered it off. No calls. No messages. No explanations. Just silence. She never came over that night. Maybe she was mad that I hadn't picked her up, or she had stayed at her friend's place. I woke up the next morning with my mind already decided what to do. I went about my business as usual. I got ready for work like it was any other day, showered, dressed, grabbed my keys, and headed out. I wasn't about to be the guy who sat around sulking over someone who had been playing me for who knows how long. Work was the same as usual. Emails, meetings, spreadsheets, things that normally felt stressful. But today, they were a welcome distraction. The hours passed, and every now and then, I checked my phone out of habit. But the screen remained empty. No calls, no texts from Marie. Not a single "Hey, are you okay?" or even a simple "Why didn't you pick me up?" She didn't seem to care that I went completely silent on her. And honestly, I was fine with that. But then, out of nowhere, my phone buzzed. It wasn't Marie. It was one of her friends. She sat there and laughed when Maria made that statement that evening. I picked up, already knowing this conversation wasn't going to go anywhere good. The second I said hello, she came in hot, her tone full of attitude. "Why are you hurting Marie for no reason?" That was the first thing out of her mouth. No greeting, just straight to the accusation, like I was the villain in all this. I took a deep breath, keeping my voice steady, but I didn't hold back. "No reason." I repeated. "How long have you known Marie has another guy?" Silence. That was all I got in response. She didn't know what to do with herself. That silence told me everything. Every single one of them knew. They had watched me be the devoted boyfriend, treating Marie like she was the only woman in the world, all while laughing behind my back because they knew the truth. My voice was cold, controlled, and clear. "You all act nice to me, but you knew," I said. "You knew she was cheating. You knew she planned to use me. And none of you said a word." There was nothing else left to say. I ended the call. I wasn't interested in hearing her stumble over some weak defense. I set my phone down and exhaled. I wasn't stupid. I knew exactly what was going to happen next. The second that call ended, she was going to run straight to Marie. And Marie? The moment she heard I knew everything, she'd panic. I had no doubt my phone would start blowing up soon. But for now, I just sat there, letting the weight of it all settle in. Marie wasted no time. The first call came within minutes of me hanging up on her friend. Then another, and another. Each time my phone buzzed, I already knew it was her. She didn't even give it a full minute before trying again. It was relentless, one missed call stacking on top of the last. When she realized I wasn't answering, the texts started flooding in, one after the other, popping up so fast I barely had time to read them before another one replaced it. Michael, please let me explain. It's not what you think. I swear, the guy is just my ex. I don't have anything to do with him anymore. Now, she was grasping at anything she could say to make me listen. But I didn't need to listen. I had already heard everything that mattered. I wasn't confused. There was no missing context that would change what she said or what it meant. I just sat there, staring at my phone as the messages kept coming. I wasn't about to let her smooth talk her way out of this. So I didn't respond. I didn't call back. I didn't even bother blocking her. I wanted her to feel the weight of the silence. That evening, I was at home, trying to unwind after a long day at work. I had barely kicked off my shoes and settled into my couch when the sound of the intercom buzzing cut through the quiet of my apartment. At first, I just stared at it, already knowing who it would be. I let it ring for a few more seconds, debating whether to answer. But curiosity got the better of me, and I finally got up and pressed the button to check the feed. And there she was, Marie, through the grainy intercom screen. I could see the desperation in her face. Then her voice came through, frantic and trembling. Michael, please, open the door. Let me talk to you. She banged on the door, her voice cracking mid-sentence. I didn't say a word. I just watched. She was crying now, wiping her face with the sleeves of her jacket, her breath hitching between words. Please, I swear I'm not with him. It was just a joke. I love you. Her voice was raw, like she had been crying long before she got here. But none of it moved me. I pressed the button and spoke, my voice calm but firm. Go be with him. I'm not proposing. I'm not marrying you. There was silence. A long, painful pause where she just stood there, staring at the intercom as if she hadn't really heard me. Then she let out a choked sob and started begging all over again. She pleaded. She swore on everything she could think of. But I didn't budge. I had spent years loving her, trusting her, and in one careless moment, she had shattered all of that. She stayed there for hours, alternating between knocking, crying, and whispering my name into the intercom. But eventually, she must have realized I wasn't going to give in. Her voice grew weaker, her knocks less frequent, until finally she was gone. I didn't watch her leave. I didn't need to. I just sat back down, listening to the silence she left behind. I never reached out to Marie again. There was nothing left to say. She had made her choices, and I had made mine. I imagined the moment she had to sit in front of her parents and explain why the guy they had known for years, the one they probably thought would be their future son-in-law, had suddenly disappeared from her life. What could she even tell them? That she got caught laughing about how she planned to use me and throw me away? That she had another man on standby while I was out here, breaking my back to build a future with her? No matter how she tried to spin it, there was no version of the story that would make her look good. Either way, it wasn't my problem. She had to sit with her own mess now. Actions have consequences, and for once, she couldn't talk or cry her way out of this one. I won't lie, this whole situation messed me up for a while. You spend years with someone, thinking you're building something real, only to find out they never saw it the same way. It's a tough pill to swallow, but I've had time to think, and I've come out of this with a few lessons that I hope someone out there can learn from. First, if you truly love someone, pay attention to how they act when they think you're not listening. It's easy to believe what people tell you when they're looking you in the eye. It's easy to feel reassured by the sweet words, the smiles, the I love yous. But when you're not around, when they think you're not paying attention, that's when the truth comes out. That's when you see who they really are. If I hadn't overheard that conversation, I would have proposed to Marie, completely blind to what was really going on. I would have walked into that moment thinking she was as committed to me as I was to her. But reality doesn't care about feelings, and the truth will always find its way to the surface. Second, loyalty and honesty matter more than time invested. A relationship isn't valuable just because it's lasted for years. 3 years with the wrong person won't magically turn them into the right one. It's not about how long you've been together. It's about how solid the foundation is. And if that foundation is built on dishonesty, selfishness, or hidden agendas, then it's only a matter of time before it collapses. I used to think that because Marie and I had history, it meant something strong. But when loyalty and honesty are missing, time means nothing. And finally, if someone doesn't appreciate your efforts, they don't deserve your commitment. I worked hard. I wasn't rich, but I was doing my best to build a future for both of us. I had a plan, I had ambition, and I was making sacrifices to give us a stable life. But none of that mattered to Marie. She wanted more, and instead of being honest with me, she played along until she could switch to the better option. But love isn't about waiting for something better to come along. It's about standing beside the person you believe in and growing together. If they don't see your value now, they never truly will. So, if you're watching this and you're in a relationship, pay attention. Not to what they tell you when they're looking you in the eye, but to how they move when they think no one is watching. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where your love and commitment are being taken for granted, walk away. Because trust me, staying will only cost you more in the end. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think I handled it the right way? What would you have done in my position? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. So that's my story. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think I was too harsh? Should I have given Marie a chance to explain, or did I do the right thing by walking away? Trust me, I've thought about this over and over, but at the end of the day, I couldn't see any future with someone who laughed about using me behind my back. Let me know in the comments. And if you know someone who's ignoring the red flags in their own relationship, share this with them. Sometimes we get so caught up in love that we don't notice when we're being taken for granted. It's easy to make excuses for someone who doesn't truly value us, but the truth always finds a way out. Don't let yourself be someone's backup plan. You deserve better.